Hi crafters, Louise here today. Thanks for checking out this video. It's been a while since I've done a 3 old and 3 new, but I'm pulling out a few items and getting some stuff done. So, twine, a couple of Project Life cards, a few little bits and pieces that have been sitting on my desk, some little enamel hearts, paper pack all about the boys in our lives, which was a gift that I was given from Kitaholic Kit's fearless leader Steph. So thank you, Steph. I appreciate you sending me something for the boys. And I pulled out some photos of Master Zed playing darts, and this was something that he discovered and thoroughly enjoyed, but I really struggled to get something on the page. So you can see that I have a bit of a play around with these different papers that I've chosen, and I think it was all just a little bit overwhelming. There was so much vibrancy in that particular collection. You can see I've chosen this black and white checker, which, like, I love the paper. It's so intense, but I think it sort of overwhelmed me a little bit in the beginning. And the little cutter parts on the back I wanted to incorporate and feature as well. So because I have this bit of teal colour in some of the elements from this collection, I pulled this background paper from my stash, and you'll see this is where I have a play. I start to think, do I split them? I knew I wanted to keep my photos in this kind of grid sort of style so that they lined up with each other to help tell the story. And so I mounted them on black and thought, you know what, let's step back from the patterned paper backgrounds and do a little bit of embellishing. So sometimes if I can't quite get something to work, I'll either put it aside or I might work on something different. So this can often spark my creativity. And you can see with these little Project Life cards, they actually come as a gift from Charms Creations. So if you've never seen a Charms creation, Charms, check her out on Facebook. Charm makes these most amazing little hearts and stars and banners and these little fabric pieces that she layers up. They are just the cutest thing to add to a layout. So I have used them on different layouts, not today, but every time you place an order in the shop, she writes you a beautiful little note, and her handwriting is just amazing. But I keep them, and it was time to bust them from the stash. That's what it's all about with this particular series of videos. So time to turn them into part of a layout. And as you can see, I split one of them in half and tucked it behind my photo layouts, and this one at the bottom is going to form a cluster piece. So obviously with this particular Manly collection, there's a dartboard element. So I'm fussy cutting the dartboard, and I'm just building a little area of interest down the bottom. This little simple stories pack of pieces that are kind of like journaling elements. I felt that they were perfect for this particular collection. They're sort of those muted colours, and I always like to try and incorporate a spot for my journaling in the very initial stages of creating a page. Otherwise, I tend to forget and I fill up all the important areas of the layout and don't actually leave a visually pleasing spot for my journaling. So you can also see that that's got a little bit of foam behind it, and just helping to add a little bit of dimension between these elements. But I think that now that I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with the cluster of my photos and how that's embellished, and the little journaling piece here as well, I really like how this looks, and I decide to keep rolling with it and to incorporate a little bit more of this story actually across the photos. This is something I don't do very often, but I really do think it's quite a striking outcome to have your title and some of your stickers just sitting on top of that photo element. And it's at this point where I have to come back to the portion of the layout where the papers are involved, and I'm still struggling a little bit. I like the way it looks with the the little cluster piece sitting just below that photo cluster, and I decide that I'm going to make this little area of interest down on the bottom of my page by layering up some torn paper and yes, tucking that sort of slightly down low. I definitely think this works fantastic and it helped to embellish. Of course, my tape runner decided to run out mid-filming, which is always the case. So I had to put it aside and get some extra tape out. But this little section at the bottom, I do apologise. I took it slightly off camera there, which is one of my pet peeves. I hate when you lose the picture and you're watching a video. So I do apologise for that. It'll come back into focus shortly. You'll see how I'm just going to tuck this extra little cluster with that pop of colour. So it just needed a little bit of orange to help work in with some of the colours embellishing around. And I just think that this turned out fantastic. I love this little bottom cluster. I think it really helps draw your eye and it's part of that sort of visual triangle of interest. My only thing that I probably would have changed here is purely just the placement of that top photo. I end up turning it on quite an angle and sticking it probably in the wrong position, but I certainly, when you visually view the layout, it's not totally noticeable. It's only sort of noticeable in this particular video as I'm watching it back and doing the voiceover. So I probably would have just moved that positioning so that the photo was straight and it was more central in that upper section. But for the final stages here, I'm going to add a couple of little bits and pieces, some of these little heart embellishments to incorporate my stash busting portion. And this layout is done. So it was super fun and I hope that you've enjoyed that and you're inspired to get creative. Thank you so much for watching and I would love any comments or feedback.